Okay. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Wednesday to everyone. Thank you for all joining us today. We're going to hear exciting news about what's going on in the financing world, which is so important for us to be able to be successful in this industry, especially more so now with all the changes in the interest rates and what's happening with the commissions, with the NAR lawsuit. You have to be very knowledgeable and trained by the best in the industry, which are our club vendors. So I'm gonna have Angeles Garcia, which is my director of financing, to introduce today's guests and speakers, part of the club, so we can all learn together. Please, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat or wait until the end of the presentation to go ahead and do so. So Angeles, please go ahead.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Great. Well, thank you, Christina. It's also a delight to work with you as the Director of Financing. And we have Ryan Meeting and Jeff Moore, who have always supported us in giving you the best, giving the club the best information. And today we're going to cover Hometown Heroes, which funds become available on July 1st. And Ryan and our team, we are experts. Ryan has closed dozens of these loans, and that's why I wanted him to go over the some of the small changes, and especially so that you can take this opportunity to prepare your clients. We have 2 weeks until we have these funds, so if you have somebody that it's ready to go under contract, now will be the moment to reserve those funds. So here's Ryan, and thank you, Jeff, so much for all of your support.
Yes.
Thanks, Angeles. Good morning, everybody. So I appreciate you guys bringing us onto the call here today. Couple things I wanted to bring to everybody's attention. So the Hometown Heroes program is a statewide program here in Florida. It's not county restrictive. And the core of the program is it will offer down payment assistance in the amount of 5% of the total loan amount on a deferred second mortgage. What that means is if you're financing, up to a maximum of $35,000. That's the big piece, is the $35K. So if you are financing $700,000 on a conventional mortgage, they will give you $35,000 to help cover your down payment and your closing costs. And you do not have to pay any interest on that $35,000, and you do not have to repay that $35,000 until such time as you either sell the home, satisfy the first mortgage, or you stop living in the home. It ceases being your primary residence. So those are the caveats for the program. Now, the money, they're putting $100 million at this thing on July 1st. That means that we can't reserve until July 1st, but we can put people under contract today. We just can't reserve their funds until July 1st. You cannot reserve funds without a contract. So last year when they opened this up, we ran through this money in 55 days. So get your people under contract now. Get them on today. So that's kind of the crux of what we're doing and why I want to get on here. And with the program, I'm gonna share my screen because I want to kind of point a couple of things out on this. All right. So let me share this screen here. So the information that I'm providing you is free to the public. Okay. It's through a site called eHousingPlus.com. It's under the program section, under the home ownership. And you would just pick our state, Florida. It's under Florida Housing, which is the statewide Florida Housing. And then you hit View Program Highlights. There's no login required for any of this. And all the information I'm going to give you today is at your fingertips. And you can verify it right there. And you can go to this regularly and see the updates. But as you can see, it says right here, 2024 Hometown Heroes funding is available July 1st. Now, one thing we don't know is what the interest rate is going to be on this program yet. They have no interest rates available for this program just yet. But what we experienced last year is it tends to follow bond. So bonds at 6.75% for our VA, USDA, and FHA loans, that's the interest rate that Hometown Heroes we can expect to see. If we're doing a Fannie Mae loan or a Freddie Mac loan, which is your conventional buyers, then we can be expecting about 7.25%. And then over here under Hometown Heroes, it has all your different guidelines and whatnot. So I pulled a couple pieces out because I wanted to point them out. So how do you qualify for this program? Who qualifies for this down payment assistance? Well, one of the requirements is that you have to work for a Florida-based employer, and you have to work full-time hours of at least 35 hours a week. What is a Florida-based employer? We have to be able to tie you to a brick and mortar office here in Florida. You can work from home, but the office that oversees you has to be here in Florida. So you can be working in Miami for an office out of Jacksonville. That's okay. But as long as the company has an office in Florida that we can tie you to, and you're working at least 35 hours a week. You also have to be defined as a first-time home buyer. Now, this is the cool part about this program. Hometown Heroes defines a first-time home buyer as someone who has not had ownership interest in a primary residence in the past 3 years. So think about that for a second. You can own one other home, and you can rent that other home out and receive income on that property. You just have to not have lived in that home for the past 3 years. We got to prove that you have not owned the home you live in within the past 3 years. I did verify that the maximum number of properties that you can own is going to be 2, including the subject property. So you can own another house and still be considered a first-time home buyer. Now, something else that they've done here, which really excites me because my background predominantly was doing VA loans, but our veterans and our active duty military and our surviving spouses of veterans, they are eligible to use this program. They do not have to be a first-time home buyer, and they do not have to work for a Florida-based company. In fact, they don't have to work at all. They can be retired, disabled, as long as they can prove their income and they can qualify debt to income ratio wise for the loan. They don't even have to have a job. So that's veterans, active duty military, and surviving spouses. Something else that's kind of unique is their definition of a veteran. Their definition of a veteran is somebody who has a DD-214 that says anything other than dishonorable. So someone may not be eligible for a VA loan, but they may still qualify as a veteran under this program. Why do I love the VA loan so much, though? Because with VA, a veteran can have more than one VA loan on their certificate of eligibility. There's special math that the VA is going to have us do, which if you've got a veteran that has a VA loan and they want to get out of that house and buy another one, but they don't necessarily want to give up the one they have right now, or you don't want to make the new purchase contingent on them selling their old property, get with Angela's, get with myself. Let us help you do the math to figure out what they qualify for. But just because they have an existing VA loan does not mean they cannot get another VA loan. There's some stuff in the chat. Yes. So yeah, 700. Okay. Sorry, Christine. You were putting stuff in Spanish for us. Okay. So that's kind of the crux of who's going to qualify, who's not going to qualify. Now, there are limitations to income. In Miami-Dade, the entire household, if we're not using bond, there's a bond feature to this that you can go through, but if we're just using the regular Hometown Heroes program, the total people going on the loan, their income cannot exceed $170,250. So if you have 2 spouses and we're only putting one spouse on the loan, we only have to look at the one spouse's income. We don't have to look at both spouses' income. If we're doing a bond program, we have to look at the whole household's income. So that's something that's unique to this specific version of this program. So 170,250 is the maximum income for the people going on the loan. And that's for if you're going to do, like I said, your FHA, your VA, and your conventional mortgages. If you're going to get into USDA, you're going to get limited because USDA has limits on their income. Okay, so Miami-Dade and USDA, depending on household size, is going to be anywhere from 118 up to 156. The FHA Hometown Heroes limit, this is just for FHA because this program is available for FHA, in Miami-Dade County is $621,000. Now, this is the loan. This is not the purchase price. This is the amount you're financing.
Mhm.
You can buy a bigger house. You just got to put more down. And again, they're going to give you 5% of whatever you finance towards that down payment and closing cost to lessen your out-of-pocket expense. But for VA and conventional, the maximum loan amount is $766,550. Now, can somebody fall under these income restrictions and buy a home? Can someone who makes $170,000 qualify to buy a $766,550 home on this program? Well, there is a restriction on the loan where the debt to income ratio, which is your mortgage, your taxes, your insurance, your association dues, your car payment, your credit cards, anything that appears on credit, cannot exceed 50% of your gross monthly income. So I ran an example here. I put in a $766,550 purchase on a VA loan, so no money down, at a 6.75% interest rate, with someone making $17,000 or $170,000 a year, so that's $14,000 a month. And then for the taxes and the insurance on this property, because we don't know, just to estimate, I put in $4,800 a year and $2,400 a year. So let's say that that's low. Let's say that it should be $3,600 a year for insurance, and then let's say maybe $600 a year for taxes. Okay, that gives us a total monthly more. Go ahead.
6,600 a year for taxes or per month?
A month. I'm sorry, 7,200 a year. Sorry, I misspoke. Yep.
Yes, it's like saying you're going a little too fast for us to follow. Okay.
Sorry. And if I go fast, please, guys, tell me to slow down. Please, please, please. I drink a lot of coffee. So the total mortgage payment in that scenario would be about $5,871 a month. So if this individual is making over $14,000 a month, then their total debt to income ratio is only 41%. So that leaves over $1,000 a month for car payment and credit card payments, maybe even student loan payments if they have them. So the answer to the question is, can somebody who falls under the income restrictions qualify for the maximum dollars? And the answer is yes. They absolutely can. So you're going to get, in this scenario, this person would get $35,000 towards their debt, or towards their loan, towards down payment and closing costs. Now, that $35,000 in this scenario is going to be larger than the closing costs and prepaid items. Correct. So what will end up happening? What will end up happening is that we'll cover all the closing costs and prepaid items with the $35,000, and then whatever's left over, we'll put that to the loan amount to bring this $766,000 down.
So you can do that, like with a VA loan, whatever gift is, which is $35,000 in this case. Obviously this person is buying literally with no money down because all the closing costs will be covered by the gift, and then even less money of the purchase price, which is the loan price in this case.
Exactly. Now, a couple things to be aware of. Okay, so the veteran is going to put up an earnest money typically with the purchase of the home. Unless that earnest money was a gift, that money will go towards the transaction. So that will go into the down payment. And
what's the requirement for the earnest money here? Is like it has to be a specific amount. It could be 5,000, 10,000, whatever is accepted by the seller in this case, pretty much.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing here. They don't have, like, some of the programs that we work with have a minimum required earnest money, and this one doesn't. They have not put anything in here that talks about a required earnest money. So, I mean, if you can get the veteran in for $500 on an earnest money, go for it.
Perfect, perfect.
You
Let
don't
me
need
ask you,
sellers. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
okay, because there's a big deal going on and I like to take advantage of asking this question. You know, with all the NAR situation, with the commissions and all that and so forth, that as of August 17th, it will be in place that the seller is no longer required to pay the buyer's commission. With this 35,000 could be applied for that matter, since part of a closing cost, if we find a deal for one of our clients in which the seller is not willing to pay for the commission on the buyer, can the buyer use the 35K to cover the commission for the realtor as part of closing costs?
I apologize that if I'll try and come in. Can you still hear me, Christina?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Yes. Mhm.
In the past, no, it could not be used to pay realtor commissions. Okay.
Okay.
But that may be changing. I will email. Actually,
Mhm.
I'll do that as soon as we get off the call. I'll email
Mhm.
up to Florida Housing
Mhm.
and get an answer for that, and I'll get it back to the group once I know for sure. Because I do know that the VA just released that they're going to allow veterans to pay the broker fee now. Because they
That's
did
correct.
previously, they were not allowed to pay that on a VA loan. But with that said, right? So if you're getting this money, right, and this money
Mhm.
is going to pay their closing costs, any down
Correct.
payment, well, then, hypothetically, they would have the extra money to be able to pay you directly because they're already prepared to
Either
pay.
having the extra money or putting the 35K as part of the closing costs.
Well,
'Cause, that's
the other thing I was going to bring up to was you can then, instead of asking seller concessions for closing costs,
correct.
you can ask for
Mhm.
seller concessions to cover the realtor's fees.
Yeah, but in some cases, worst case scenario, if we find a seller which is not willing to cooperate at all, meaning not give any seller concessions for paying the commission or or whatever the case might be, because that's what the law says. And we're going to be
Mhm.
giving a lot more classes to the club members about this change of the law. But we will be facing scenarios in which the seller will only pay the listing agent commission, and that's it, no seller concessions for the buyer. So we as agents have to be very well prepared as of how to address this to our buyers, specifically with programs such as this, in which the buyer can get a gift to cover closing costs. The commission is part of the closing costs. So that's why was my question, because that will be, this is a complete game changer for the buyers, which are going to be in a position of saying, I don't have any money to pay your commission. And in this case, we'll be saying, yes, you do, because you're getting a gift. And you can use that as, to cover your closing cost and our commission. So it will be very, very good for us to know if this program will allow to do so. So whenever you have a chance, just let us know about that. But thank you for.
Well, here it is right here. As I knew it was in the guideline. They
Okay.
may be updating and changing this,
Yeah.
but it's right here. Realtor commission is not permitted to be paid with the housing down payment assistance funds. The buyer may pay using their own funds. They can only be applied to standard closing costs. I don't
Okay.
know if they're going to change that come August, just because of everything that's happening right now. There's a lot of fluidity in the marketplace with this.
Right. Mhm.
But as it stands today, they still have it in their guideline that the answer to that is no.
Okay. Well, as
All
you
right.
said, they're still getting all this cash, that, they didn't have before. So if they can use, because of the change of the law, their own money to pay the commission. Worst case scenario.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Got
Another thing that came up as I'm scrolling through here that made me think of some of the things that we've done with some of these loans. So I keep focusing on VA, right?
it.
But this is available for conventional borrowers. This is available for FHA borrowers and USDA borrowers. You can have a co-signer on these loans. And a co-signer is much different than a co-borrower. So a
Okay.
co-signer is co-signing on the note. They are not going on the deed. They are not signing the mortgage. Why does that matter? Because their income does not count towards the income limit, and they do not have to be a first-time homebuyer. So let's say that a parent, I'll use you as an example, Christina. Let's say you wanted to co-sign for one of the kids to buy a house. as long as you weren't going to live there and you weren't going to go on the deed, you're just going to go on the note and truly co-sign. You can help them qualify for that loan using your income as far as the debt to income ratio cap, because we're capped at 50%. We can't be over 50. We can use that income to help offset the debt to income ratio to qualify, but that income doesn't count towards the limit of the program. And you would not be required to be a first-time home buyer. Only they would be, because they're the only ones going on the deed. And we've used that in multiple scenarios already to help folks qualify where they would have otherwise not qualified.
Correct. But then obviously whoever's on the note is responsible for that,
For the loan,
mortgage
yes.
as well. Correct. So
Yeah,
you're not
yeah.
in the deed. You do not own the house. However, you do own the debt.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
just to make,
And that is the risk that, yep.
because it will be obviously recorded and therefore you are responsible. So yeah, I mean, that's a great scenario as you presented it, someone who wants to help the kids or somebody from the family saying, okay, I'll help you. And knowing that they're going to be liable for the loan as well.
Yep.
Okay, but it's
Absolutely.
good to know.
Yeah, it's just,
Okay.
again, I'm just thinking out loud on this, there's also with the conventional loan, if someone is under 80% of the area median income, the mortgage insurance, the PMI, will be a lessened rate, substantially lessened, which will help them with their payment and qualifying. This isn't only for a single unit home. You can use this for a multifamily home, 2 to 4 family. You just have to live in one of the units. You can use it for condos. You can use it for townhomes. You can also use it for manufactured homes. Now, the catch with manufactured homes is it has to be a double wide or larger. And again, this is, I'll pull the manufactured home sheet for you guys so you can see it. Manufactured home, for those of you that do it, would have to have double wide or larger. Sorry. Double wide or larger. 1994 or newer. The land has to come with it. The minimum credit score is 660, and that maximum debt to income ratio drops from 50 down to 45. But it can be done.
And the credit score for the VA or for the FHA?
Yeah.
640 minimum for the standard for the
640,
program. Yep. And again, if you're there, great. If you're not there yet, let's take a look and figure out why and see what we can do to get you there. We do a lot of work.
Take a look at the credit. You mean you
Yep.
will assist the buyer to make some adjustments so their credit score can go higher? Is that what you mean?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We have analyzers we can run. We even have people we can refer them to help get derogatory items removed from credit. I recently had a client that had a chunk of money and a large amount of credit card debt. And rather than just blindly paying off credit card debt, hoping what his score was going to be, we strategically paid that credit card debt to maximize the benefit of the cash and actually helped him keep enough money in his pocket that he was able to put his own closing costs up, so he didn't have to ask for seller concessions. Mm-hmm. So, like I said, we get creative on this to try and figure out solutions that are going to best help the buyer. Because that's really what this is about. As much as we want to make it about us, it's not about us. This is about the buyer, getting them into a home they're going to be comfortable in, that they can afford.
Okay. Have you had already success cases with this program before? As you said, the last time it got sold, I mean, the funds were gone within, I don't know, like a month, 2 months?
Yeah, it was 55 days. Well, here's the thing. Before July of last year, you had to either be a first responder, a healthcare worker, a teacher. You had to be a community. Like, they had a list of occupations you had to fall under. And
right.
we did many loans under that. I mean, it's helped out a great number of people, but they weren't going through the money fast enough, they felt. So they opened it up in July of last year to everybody with these new guidelines, and it went like that. Now, what also happened, though, was because there was a number of lenders that reserve funds for borrowers, and then they couldn't get the loan done. We slowly saw money coming back in on every other week, they'd release a certain amount of money. And that was based on loan fallout for people that couldn't close the loan, people selling homes. Because when you sell your home, the money that they gave you goes back into the pool. This program will replenish itself as these mortgages are satisfied. People refinancing,
Okay.
things of that
So now
nature. So
it's, right, it's more open now, but you said that you have to have the contract by July 1st, or the funds are gonna be released on July 1st? That
the
was
funds are going to be
something,
the funds are going to be made available for reservation on July 1st. You
okay,
cannot reserve without a contract. So if we put you under
okay,
contract today on June 12th on a 30-day cycle, we can have you done, underwritten, ready to go. So when the funds come available July 1st, we can reserve your funds and then close you on time.
okay. So it's for whoever wants to be under contract within this couple of weeks, more or less.
Pretty much, yeah. Because
Or,
once you go under contract July 1st, we're reserving your funds as soon as we get the contract. Yeah.
correct, but you can reserve the funds until the funds run out, pretty much.
Correct. Correct.
So you can be under contract at the end of the month and still be able to qualify if there's funds left.
As long as there's
left.
still money available. Yes. Yes. And
Correct.
to answer the question, yes, someone just popped a question in the chat about the 35K.
There
Yes,
you
so
go.
keep in mind, guys, it is up to 35,000. It's
Mhm.
5% of the total loan amount. So if your total loan amount is 300,000, you're getting 15,000. If your total loan amount is 500,000, you're getting 25,000. But
Mhm.
yes, that money does eventually have to be paid back. There is no interest charged on that money. And the cases you'd have to pay it back again is you move out of the house, you stop living in it, you refinance the loan, or you satisfy the first mortgage, either by selling the home or paying the mortgage off. If one of those three things occurs, that money is due.
It's due when you sell the house or when you move out of the house. It's no longer your homestead, pretty much. It has to be
Correct.
your homestead. As long as it's your homestead, you don't have to pay that back. It could be how many years you decide to live in the property.
Well, but keep in mind though, if you pay off your first mortgage, you have to pay it
Right.
back. So if
Yeah, but if
you
you
stay
have
in,
a
if you pay
30,
extra principal payments and pay off the loan early, or you hit 30
correct,
years
30
and you take
years
that last
term,
mortgage
and
payment.
then, okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Quick question here, Ryan. So if you wanted to move to a larger home because the family grew in the next couple of years, they keep the house, they keep the mortgage, but they want to rent this house and buy another one. That wouldn't matter, right?
If you
For
move
them
out of
paying
the
off the loan.
house and
Yes.
turn this into a rental and they catch you, they're going to ask you for their money back.
It has to be
Oh, I
your
see what you
homestead
mean.
property.
You have to live there. So what I would suggest is before you move out of the house is we look at a refinance, because hopefully in a couple of years rates are going to be down low enough that it's going to make sense to refinance. And then when you do the refinance, we'll pay off that second mortgage with that refinance and satisfy that loan. So of course, when we're looking at the interest rates and we're looking at the benefit, we have to take into account that we've got to take that 0% interest money and now bring it into the mortgage and start paying interest on it. So the hope is that interest rates have dropped enough that it's going to offset that increase in mortgage balance.
But you can also pay this 35K installments.
Right, you can pay it over time. It's just if
Yeah.
you move out, they want the whole amount.
Correct, but since it's zero money, it's zero interest. And if I
Right.
want to decide to start paying, I don't know, $1,000 a month or whatever, within 3 years, you'll be paid off.
Exactly.
Got it.
Exactly. You can always make payments on that money if you want to. You are not required to make no payments. You have the option, just like with other loans where you have the option to pay the minimum or no. Same concept here.
All right. Is it possible for you to go back to where you got to all this great information in the website that you just gave us?
Absolutely.
So
Okay.
just go slowly, guys, because I got lost and I tried to find it and I couldn't.
I moved too fast. I apologize. So eHousingPlus.com.
Correct. I
All
did
right.
put that email in the chat for the members.
All right. So then we're going to go to programs. We're going to go to homeownership and just click on
Okay.
homeownership.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's going to bring up the countrywide map. We're going to select Florida. And then we're looking at Florida housing. Florida housing is the statewide program.
Okay.
And then once we're there, view program
Program
highlights,
highlights.
and everything you never wanted to know is at your fingertips.
Wow.
Of course, and again, they've tried to make this simplified for the non-mortgage person to be able to read because it is public access. But as always, if you're reading through this and something doesn't make sense or you have a question, please reach out to Angela's, reach out to me. We try to do our best to answer all questions and address everything. Because there are other programs that are out there through the Florida housing that are statewide that we don't really talk about a lot. We focus on hometown heroes, right? But there's also Florida Bond, which is constantly funded. They'll give $10,000.
Okay.
There's also the Florida Assist, which has some rates and has an offering. But then there's the Florida Plus, and the Florida Plus is actually a forgivable second mortgage. Now, we don't push it right now because look at the interest rates right now. I mean, 8.5% for a 5% down payment assistance. I mean, that's pretty high even in this market. But there will be times that interest rate will come down and this program will become favorable again. So
yes,
this is a great tool. It's a great resource for us. We have access to this statewide, amongst other programs. We've got some stuff in Tampa. We've got a whole bunch of stuff here in Polk County and whatnot. But down there for y'all, we use the statewide programs. So they're pretty powerful. And everything is right there, plain as day at your fingertips to be able to see if somebody qualifies or not. Now, of course, we don't want to ask you guys to do that for us. Please, if you've got somebody that you think this may help, send them over. Let us vet them out for you. But there's a lot of tools and information here for you to help market this type of stuff.
Right. I have another question. What do you think it's the average percentage for closing costs? Is that something that we get our buyers asking us all the time? If I'm going to buy this, how much it's going to be, my closing cost is going to be?
So typical closing costs to tell people anywhere from 3 to 4% normally. Okay. However, in this program,
of the loan amount,
right, of
3
the
or
loan
4% of the loan amount,
right. However, in this program, the state waives the documentary stamps and the intangible taxes on the mortgage. So that saves you a little over 0.5% of the loan amount in costs. Because it's 0.55% is the factor on that.
Right.
So, and they don't allow any discount points to be charged. They don't charge an origination fee. You only have your processing and underwriting charges. So you're going to have a $1,995 for your origination charges, $1,995 for your origination charges. So if you're buying a $500,000 home, those origination charges are less than 0.5%. Or typically you figure 1% for the origination. Sorry to cut you off
So
there.
in this case will be pretty much a 3%. I mean, to say it's safe with the discounts and all that and so forth.
Yeah, I think if you said 3, you'll be happily surprised.
So pretty much you have an extra 2 points that will go towards lowering the mortgage in this case, or the loan amount.
Right. And absolutely. So let's talk through, because again, we're focusing on veterans with no money down, right?
Right.
And by all means, I want to focus on veterans because they are the ones that deserve this program the most. They're the ones that made the sacrifice. I can't speak enough to that. But this is available for civilians as well. And it's available on FHA loans, where an FHA loan, the minimum down payment is 3.5%. So you're getting 5% of the loan amount now. Okay. So you're going to use a little bit more than that 5% for the 3.5% of the purchase price, but you're still going to have money left over from that 5% to help with your closing costs.
Right.
You're going to put your earnest money up, and that's going to go towards your cost for close. So maybe you have to bring another 1%, 1.5% maybe to the table for your closing costs and prepaid items.
Or FHA loans, you mean?
For FHA. Conventional, the minimum down payment for conventional is only 3%.
3%.
and you're getting 5. So again, you've got money left over for closing costs and prepaids. You may still end up bringing a little bit of money to the table if the seller's not going to give you anything. But again, a lot better than having to come up with everything by yourself.
Absolutely. And these, well, FHAs, you cannot use them for condos.
You
Because
can.
the condo has to be approved though by the FHA. Specific
Let
building
me
has
just,
to be approved.
I want to check one thing. I think they changed the guideline on this because we can do a spot approval. It's called a single unit approval. Condos follow, lenders are not, never mind.
Yeah. Well, the issue with the condos nowadays is that since they don't have reserves and all that problem with the associations, a lot of them require 20% of your homestead or 25% of your investment. So most of
Right.
these loans, FHA or even the conventional 3% will not qualify unless the building has solid reserves. Is that correct?
Correct. I mean, the loan has to, the property has to pass the questionnaire, and it has to be approvable. So if we're doing FHA, we can do a single unit approval. Lenders are not required to have, oh no, wait, follow agency guidelines. No, you can do single unit approvals on these.
Even though the building doesn't have any reserves, no, it's not going to fly.
Well,
First, we
the
have
building,
to
right,
get
right.
it.
The building's going to have to be warrantable, right? It's
Okay,
going to have to be deemed a warrantable condo. But what I'm saying is, if it's going to be deemed a warrantable condo, you may likely be able to do an FHA single unit approval if the entire complex is not already FHA approved, because some of these associations don't want to jump through the hoops to become FHA approved, right? So we just approve the one unit, the unit that we're purchasing, and we don't approve the whole complex.
Or do a conventional 3%.
Right.
Okay.
It all depends. Again, it depends on the buyer too, right? Because a 660 buyer it may not be able to do a 3% down conventional program.
Right. For conventional, what's the score?
Well, it's still a
680?
640 minimum, but I mean, truth be told, I mean, when someone's going a little higher in their debt to income ratio, you're going to want to be 680 plus.
680, that's what I was
Realistically,
thinking.
I mean, as a guideline, I've gotten 660 approved on conventional, but the borrower had a very low debt to income ratio and they had good reserves. They had other compensating factors for the low credit score. But again, if they're at 660, let's figure out why and what can we do to help improve.
Okay, sounds great. I don't know if there's anyone here on the class or in the class that has any questions. We have to take advantage of this time around. I know that this is a lot of information for you guys, but we have to be, as I said, as knowledgeable as we can, even though we're not mortgage brokers, we're not loan officers. It's our duty to know what's going on in the financing arena so we can better assist our clients. So I don't know if any of you guys have any questions. If you want to dig into a little bit more in this program, I think it's a fantastic program, especially now that the guidelines changed and you don't have to be a first responder to qualify. And not many people know about this. So I do strongly encourage you for you to take the information and start doing posts about it, because it will generate a lot of attention and you can generate a lot of leads for this. And of course, take advantage of Angeles and Ryan, Jeff, to help you qualify those clients. I do see that there's some questions in the chat.
I'm seeing them right here. So
we can see the available funds left. Oh, okay. Well, the funds
Oscar had a question. Sorry to interrupt you, Christina. So a hometown hero is defined as either a veteran, active duty military, someone who works full-time hours, which is 35 hours or more, for a company that is Florida based, meaning they have to have a Florida office that we could tie that individual to. So I know the term of the loan is hometown heroes, but they basically strip the heroes requirement away from it. You just have to basically work for a Florida company full-time hours or fall under the veteran exemption. The page where you can see available funds is right here. When you get to this page under the program highlights, right at the top here, it will tell you what's left.
So
as
right now, we don't know how much is gonna be available.
right now,
how
we know
many-
100 million, we know $100 million is coming
100
available
million.
July 1st. On July 2nd, who knows, maybe 78 million. But if we get people under contract today, we can reserve I can pretty much guarantee you that that 100 million is not going to go out on day one. But every
Right.
day, you know, every day that passes, that money is going to come down. And the other thing to keep in mind, guys, is just because the funds get exhausted does not mean there will not be funds available, because not every, there are people that get put under contract and those loans don't close. Homes don't pass
Right.
inspection. People, things happen, right? So, when that money goes back in the pool, it gets re-released.
That's great. Any more questions that you might have?
I wanted to make a comment also. I just wanted to let everybody know that, this information may feel a little bit overwhelming, and that's what I'm here, and I'm actively working with Christina for the club members. So if any questions, any doubts, you want me to take a look at something, or, to pass it to the team at TLC, Total Lending Concepts. I mean, guys, let me tell you, like, Ryan and the team, they are experts in all of these programs. We've closed like plenty of loans with like basically no money down. I mean, amazing stories. So like, if you have any doubts, if any of your clients may or may not be able to take advantage of this, let us do the work. It's sometimes it could get overwhelming, or you could think, no, they make too much money, and they can't. I'm sure within a couple days, 3 days, we'll give you your answers, and your borrowers will be able to know if they qualify or not. So I'm here to be in service. So use me, please.
Yes, and also know that Angeles speaks perfect English and Spanish. So don't be afraid. Just call her and speak in any language. That's very important for us to be able to service our clients in our own language. So any more questions? Yes, Ryan.
I just Angela's brought up thoughts to me. I can't help but comment. But if you have a client that we're trying to put under contract, get with us. Let us help you cultivate the offer so that we know the right. If we do need to ask for seller concessions, we know the right amount of seller concessions to ask for. If we only need 2% and we don't need 3%, that could be the difference between winning the deal and not winning the deal. So please let us help you there as well.
I think it's great what you just said, Ryan, because I've been in the industry for many years. I've been in the broker for many years, and I love the financing world. I love numbers, and I love all the type of loans. However, I do believe that my best job is to be the rainmaker, which means bringing the buyers to me and then immediately addressing them to Angeles. I don't qualify them. I don't ask the questions, nothing to that matter. That has been for me the best way to go. So guys, please take advantage of what we're giving you as a club. Specifically, Angeles, please share your information so the people in the chat can have them. Just start promoting this information in your social media. Do create campaigns. I cannot stress you enough. This is the time for you to be on social media paying ads. With $35 per ad, you can generate a lot of leads. And when those leads come to you, all you have to do is say, let me put you in contact with my expert. Give them to Angeles, and she will be able to qualify them for the loan. Don't start trying to making many questions, because first of all, we're not the experts. And then our licenses are also very limited. We cannot give opinion or advice in something that is not our matter. But if we generate the lead and we have Angeles qualify them, that's it. That's all you need. Then you have a buyer, a solid buyer. So that's my best advice for you guys. Don't try to, because sometimes we're afraid to do anything because we don't know enough. I don't know enough about this, so I don't want to talk to the buyer about this if I don't know. You don't need to know enough. You have to have an expert, which is part of your team, and all you have to do is let me put you with my partner in the team, which is the expert in financing, and that's it. And as Ryan said, they will find a way to qualify that buyer. Or if it doesn't qualify, they will let you know what you need to do to nurture that lead, and don't let it go, because that buyer will be ready within 3 months, 6 months, or a year. You have to be on top of that. I don't know if you guys I don't know if another broker's here or a senior agent who has been doing this for a while, what has been your experience just by not trying to get into all the financial aspects with your buyers, just sending it to the expert. And I do truly believe that Angeles does a great job. She has a lot of patience. Sometimes we don't have patience, in the fact of, how to qualify the buyer. So just don't deal with it. Let her deal with it. Once the buyer's qualified, all you need to do is find them the home, which is your expertise, finding the home.
Thank you, Christina. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I will, contact your buyer. I speak Spanish, Espanol, English, whatever you prefer. I can contact them. I'll do the work for you. And a great word to use, we are your lending partner. You can just tell them, I'm going to connect you with my partner. This has been our effort to provide you with all of the tools that you can truly feel we are your partner and this is a team. So don't think that you need to learn all these things. I worry to be the expert and to have Ryan and the team. They are amazing. Believe me, guys. I've been in different mortgage companies throughout my life. I've been in the mortgage industry for 20 years. I have never found a team so efficient, so knowledgeable, and that close the real deal. I mean, we close early most of the time. We have clear to close most of the time. I know this is super important for you. And, we get ready and we get prepared to let you and your client have the best experience. So please take advantage of that.
Yes, that's fantastic. You guys are asking for her info. Just put it in the chat, her email address and her cell phone number. So feel free to use her. She is, as I said, she is my director of financing, but she is also the club. So you can just take advantage of that. I don't know if you guys want to add something to the matter. Oh, she did put her info also on the screen as part of the TLC world. And as you know, TLC has been kind enough and it's been wonderful to help us with listings to leads. We will be having a specific class again on that matter next month. So feel free also to join to these classes. I mean, I've been using listings to leads and it's been wonderful. We're trying to do a lot more campaigns with that. And, that's for you to generate not only buyers, but to generate sellers. So it's wonderful. And we're so grateful for that to the TLC team. So we're about to run out of time. Is there any more questions? We try to keep it to 45 minutes to an hour at the most every Wednesday. So I don't know if you guys have any more questions or would like to comment on something. But I think it's great to have these tools. I'm going to download some information from this website. Thank you for sharing this, Ryan. Sometimes we just want to go back. I mean, because this information allows you to create posts. I've been making some notes, as a matter of fact, of what I want to say in my social media, specifically about this information. So just go back to that and start generating leads. And you'll see that next time that we meet with TLC, you're going to say, oh, we just closed this loan with a Hometown Heroes program that not many people know about and that we have to take advantage of. You guys are good. Oscar, you have any more questions? Thank you for your participation, Oscar. He is a senior agent for Bell House. And, that's why he is a top producer, because he's always in the classes, he's always willing to learn and to share. So I cannot thank you enough, Oscar, for always being here and supporting us. And your cooperation is so valuable. He has, he shared with us his story and is so inspiring. And all of you guys are here. I know it's summertime and I know it's kind of weird, but it's only 45 minutes every week. And we're trying to get you the best that we can. Our website, the club's website is almost done. We're adding a new features because of the law of the change of the law. So as soon as we're ready, please, Ryan and Angeles, log into as vendors. You'll be able to put a lot more information. It's going to be a lot easier for all of our members to reach out to you and to start connecting with you guys as well. Okay.
Great news. Thank you so much for the invitation. Thank you, everybody. It's such a pleasure. I love these meetings and being able to interact with you. So I'm here to serve, so I'm ready. Thank you, Christina.
You guys, and see you next Wednesday. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Jeff. Looking
That's
forward
Thank
to
you,
pleasure.
next
Thanks,
Ryan.
time.
guys. Thanks for having us.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Jeff. Love you
Bye-bye.
guys. Bye-bye.